You're watching the morning show here on the Weather Network. It is Monday, August 29th. Hello, I'm Kim MacDonald. Lindsay Morrison is on assignment today. Kevin Yard will be joining us, and so will Shelley Steeves. She'll be in St. John, New Brunswick. We'll be chatting with her momentarily. But first, we have this great contest going on where we're giving away a Dell laptop every single day for 30 days. And you could be the proud owner of a new laptop. All you have to do is take our code word. Our code word of the day today is rain. Go to our website, theweathernetwork.com/Dell. Fill out your info, enter the code word of the day, and you could be walking away with a brand new computer. Yeah, just in time for school for a lot of people. You know, it has been a rough start to the day for many people. I'm thinking in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia because they are without lights or power. I think a lot of people realize that this might happen. Shelley, she reports live from St. John, New Brunswick. In New Brunswick, 50,000 or 30,000, I should say, at last count without power. And of course, they're going to try to get everybody back online as soon as possible. About 15,000 in Nova Scotia. And rain continues to be a real problem in Quebec. That's where our rainfall warnings are in place. It continues to pour rain all along the St. Lawrence, and the concern is for flooding today. There's our wind warning still in place across the Maritimes, parts of Quebec, Newfoundland as well, and our rainfall warnings continue for eastern Quebec. Long-range forecast details. Let's take a look. Across the west, the big change is going to be in the temperature. It is going to drop like a stone tomorrow in southern Alberta. Today, temperatures are in the 30s. Tomorrow, the low teens. So Calgary goes from 30 to 13 in one day, in one fell swoop. Some active weather across the northern prairies. We've got showers and thunderstorms just along that Manitoba border, moving into northern Ontario come Wednesday. So expect the thunderstorms there. The Great Lakes look good over the next couple of days. Southern areas of Ontario, Quebec much nicer on Wednesday, high pressure in place, and then we've got some unsettled weather for Newfoundland and Labrador, primarily west coast Newfoundland versus the Avalon, say. High pressure continues to stay in place. Fair skies across the Maritimes looking good for you on Thursday, and we're watching this active weather make its way across the prairies, and every day that cooler weather moves east. So Saskatchewan, Manitoba cooling down as well in time for Friday. Hi, good morning. Less than 1 minute from right now, your local forecast details. I'm Kim MacDonald on this Monday. It is August the 29th. Let's take a look at the risk for thunderstorms today in the west. It'll be a little unstable in some areas. Very warm today. We've got temperatures that are very much still summertime, high 20s, low 30s, especially in Alberta today. So mostly non-severe storms, but isolated severe are possible. That means they may include heavy downpours and even some hail. And the threat is there in northern Ontario as well. So anywhere from, say, Thunder Bay all the way across into Kapuskasing and Timmins, and then south as we get into the overnight towards the Nickel Belt. So watch for those as well. Coming up in our newscast, no surprise, the big story. Hi, good morning. Power outages, flight delays, and damaging winds. That's what Irene is leaving behind as the storm continues moving through the northern Maritimes. There are at least 50,000 outages throughout the entire region. And if you have travel plans, it might be a good idea to check in with your airline before heading out. Airports are still dealing with cancellations and delays, especially between cities in Irene-affected areas. As mentioned, what's left of Irene is moving through the Maritimes, and that means the storm isn't finished with Atlantic Canada just yet. More rain is on the way, with heaviest hit areas expected to pick up at least 25 millimeters. And the wind isn't going anywhere either. Warnings are still in effect from eastern Quebec into Newfoundland. As usual, hurricanes and tropical storms draw people to coastal areas, and this storm was no exception. For hurricane forecasters, this is just the beginning of peak season in the Atlantic Basin, and the U.S. National Hurricane Center is watching 3 hotspots right now. Look to the BC interior, Alberta, Saskatchewan for the warm weather today. A lot of hot air. Southern areas of Alberta looking at temperatures in the 30s. Same thing for the BC interior. It's warm in southern Saskatchewan, Manitoba at 26, and St. John's, Newfoundland, 26, feeling like 34 today. Temperatures are back to seasonal in southern Ontario, and it looks good on the BC coast too.
At your disposal.
We have less than a minute to go before your local forecast details. We're talking about Irene in its post-tropical stage right now. It was a tropical storm when it made landfall in New York City. New York, well, they thought they might see a hurricane. It wasn't. Thanks. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on the morning show. You're watching the Weather Network. I'm Kim MacDonald. Lindsay Morrison on assignment today. Kevin Yard will be joining me shortly. We'll have Shelley Steeves live on the program as well. She's reporting out of New Brunswick, St. John in particular. Let's start there, shall we, in St. John, where we have seen some very powerful winds through the morning hours, strongest in Atlantic Canada this morning. So despite the fact that you may not have seen a tremendous amount of rain in Halifax or in St. John, those winds are what you're contending with today, and it could be a while before hydro gets everybody back online, because imagine the workers getting out there in conditions like this. It's dangerous. Winds are gusting to about 80 kilometers per hour this morning in around Halifax. This is a radar showing our rainfall, and all of this has to do with Irene. It's coming down quite heavily still along the St. Lawrence. So in Quebec, we continue to see our rainfall warnings. Let's start with the wind warnings first, though. Mainland Nova Scotia, most of New Brunswick, all along the north or the southern shore, I should say, of the St. Lawrence. The Wreck House area, Port Basque in Newfoundland has a wind warning in place, and there's our rainfall warning. Another 30 millimeters possible in these areas. You can see that the rainfall warning has been dropped for much of the southwest. Montreal picked up over 50 millimeters of rain. Quebec City over 50 millimeters of rain. But it was Sherbrooke that saw almost double that. And the concern, of course, in these areas is for flooding. Vermont saw extensive flooding stateside just south of Quebec, but they had already had a pretty wet summer so far, and the ground was pretty saturated, so there's a lot going into the amount of rain they saw. This is looking at temperatures across much of the east. It's going to be warm today again, and muggy too in Halifax and St. John's. It was feeling tropical yesterday. That continues today. We are giving away a Dell laptop every single day for 30 days. You have to put in the code word, and you have to listen for that word on our morning show. The code word of the day is rain. Go to theweatherNetwork.com/Dell, put in our code word, and you could be walking away with a free computer today. Let's go outside now to Kevin Yard, who is not eligible, unfortunately, for
Kim, you got to hook me up.
Laptop.
Hook me up. Hook me up for a Dell. You got to do it. I know you got the powers. Okay, back inside to Kim. I know she will somehow find a way to get me a computer. I know. Maybe not.
I'll do my best. I'll tell you what I tell my kids. Get a job. Okay. All right. Oh, you already have one. Southern Ontario, sunshine. Northern Ontario, unsettled today with the risk of thunderstorms, mostly non-severe, but a few isolated severe are possible. It is hot across the prairies today. Southern Alberta is seeing temperatures in the low 30s in places like Medicine Hat and Lethbridge, 30 in Calgary. But tomorrow, and we can often tell by the jet stream when it dips low like this, we're in for some cooler air on the backside of an area of low pressure. So temperature drops from 30 to 13. That's the forecast, believe it or not. We've got some active weather in the northern prairies, high pressure over Ontario, and still some lingering rainfall in this little trough in eastern Quebec. So the last thing that they need. But by the time we get into Wednesday, high pressure takes over, and that's good for the cleanup. We've got some wet weather in Newfoundland, western edges, and Labrador as well. Expect some rainfall. Ontario and Quebec look good, as I mentioned, and we've got some cooler, unsettled conditions across the prairies. The west coast looks good under high pressure. Wednesday and Thursday, nice day on the lower mainland. There's our low continuing its trek eastward into northern Ontario. And on Friday, we've got some unsettled weather across northern Quebec into Labrador. We still have wind warnings and rainfall warnings across much of the eastern half of this country. The reason being, of course, post-tropical storm Irene. So no longer a tropical storm, but still bringing significant winds to the shorelines. We've got widespread power outages in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, close to 50,000 in all. We had about 250,000 in Quebec, but they're seeing more rain than wind at this point, and most of it anywhere from the Laurentians all the way out towards It's Sept-Îles at the mouth of the St. Lawrence. So there's our heavier rainfall. Our rainfall warning coincides with that perfectly. Environment Canada, of course, issues warnings. So there's our rainfall warning, as much as 30 millimeters of additional rain, 10 to 30. So that's the range right now. Farther north, we could see 25 to 50 millimeters of rain through today. That's towards Labrador City. You could see some very light showers in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, because it's still unstable, but for the most part, the heavier rainfall is over for you. Fredericton picked up about 83 millimeters of rain. Sherbrooke, 108 millimeters. So there's a good drenching in some communities. Northern Ontario, it's a little unstable today. There's the risk of thunderstorms, albeit non-severe for the most part, but isolated severe are possible. We could see some decent rumblers across the southern prairies. We've got a cold front moving through Alberta, and that means southern Alberta could be in for some severe weather tonight. And expect a dramatic cool down when it comes to temperatures. These are your temperatures for today. Look, 30s and feeling even warmer than that with the humidity. Tomorrow we're looking at a high of 13 in Calgary. It's nice on the coast. Expect fair conditions, warm in the interior with temperatures in the low 30s today.